Why do you keep falling for the same type of person, even when they hurt you every time? The answer lies deep in your attachment style, a blueprint created in childhood that silently controls who you're attracted to and how you act in relationships. Whether you feel anxious when your partner doesn't text back, or you're always the one pulling away when things get too serious, your attachment style is likely to blame. In this video, we'll discuss the 10 most important truths about attachment styles and how they shape your relationships. This isn't the fluffy advice you've heard before. We're breaking it down in a way that might make you to confront the patterns holding you back so you can finally stop falling for the wrong people. 1. Your attachment style is formed in childhood. Well, let's start with the basics. Your attachment style isn't random. It's shaped by how your caregivers responded to your needs as a child. If they were consistently attentive, you likely developed a secure attachment style. But if they were unpredictable, neglectful, or overbearing, you're more likely to have developed an insecure attachment style. For example, if your parents were emotionally unavailable, you might have learned to suppress your own needs to avoid disappointment, leading to an avoidant attachment style. On the other hand, if they were inconsistent, sometimes loving, sometimes distant, you might have developed an anxious attachment style, constantly seeking reassurance in relationships. These patterns don't disappear when you grow up. They follow you into every relationship. Understanding this isn't about blaming your parents. It's about recognizing the root of your behavior. Only when you face these truths can you begin to rewrite your attachment narrative. Without this awareness, you'll keep repeating the same cycles, wondering why your relationships always end the same way. 2. Anxious attachment leads to over-investing in the wrong people. If you have an anxious attachment style, you're likely drawn to emotionally unavailable partners. Why? Because their unpredictability feels familiar. It mirrors the inconsistent love you received in childhood, creating a subconscious drive to win their affection, even if it's at your own expense. Anxiously attached individuals tend to overinvest in relationships, giving more than they receive and tolerating red flags in the hope of earning love. You might find yourself constantly texting, seeking validation, and fearing abandonment. But here's the harsh truth: your desperation only pushes them further away. To break this cycle, you must learn to meet your own emotional needs first. No one can fill the void left by your childhood experiences but you. When you stop chasing love from those who can't give it, you'll finally make space for people who value and respect you. 3. Avoidant attachment keeps you from real intimacy. Avoidant attachment is the opposite of anxious attachment. If this is your style, you fear being overwhelmed or trapped in relationships, so you keep people at a distance. You might ghost someone who gets too close or nitpick their flaws as an excuse to leave. Avoidants often think they're better off alone, but the reality is they crave connection just as much as anyone else. Their avoidance is a defense mechanism, protecting them from the vulnerability they learned to fear in childhood. Ironically, this keeps them stuck in shallow, unsatisfying relationships. The path to change starts with acknowledging your fear of intimacy. Instead of running, challenge yourself to stay present when things get uncomfortable. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the foundation of deep, meaningful relationships. Until you face this fear, you'll keep sabotaging connections with people who genuinely care for you. 4. Secure attachment isn't as common as you think. Secure attachment is often held up as the ideal, but the truth is, it's rare. Research shows that only about 50% of adults have a secure attachment style. The rest fall into anxious, avoidant, or disorganized categories, often leading to dysfunctional relationships. A securely attached person is comfortable with intimacy and independence. They communicate openly, handle conflict maturely, and don't play games. If this doesn't sound like you or the people you're attracted to, you're not alone. Most people are drawn to partners whose attachment styles mirror their unresolved wounds. But here's the good news. Attachment styles aren't fixed. With self-awareness and effort, you can shift toward a more secure way of relating. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Imagine a relationship where love feels safe, steady, and mutual. That's what secure attachment offers, if you're willing to do the work. 5. Disorganized attachment creates chaotic relationships. Disorganized attachment is a mix of anxious and avoidant styles, and it's as messy as it sounds. If this is your style, You crave intimacy but fear it at the same time. You might pull someone close, then push them away when they get too near, leaving both of you confused and hurt. This attachment style often stems from trauma, such as abuse or neglect. Your caregivers were likely a source of both comfort and fear, creating a deep internal conflict about relationships. As an adult, this manifests in unpredictable behavior that makes it hard to form stable connections. Healing disorganized attachment requires addressing the underlying trauma. Therapy can help you process these experiences and develop healthier patterns. It's not easy, but until you confront your past, you'll keep repeating the chaos in every relationship. 6. Opposites. Attract, but not in a good way. Ever wonder why anxious and avoidant types often end up together? It's no coincidence. This dynamic creates a toxic push-pull cycle where the anxious partner chases intimacy and the avoidant partner pulls away. Each triggers the other's deepest fears, creating a relationship full of tension and unmet needs. This pairing is common because it's familiar. Anxious and avoidant individuals subconsciously seek out partners who reflect their childhood experiences. But what feels familiar isn't healthy. These relationships rarely last, and when they do, they're often marked by pain and frustration. Breaking free requires recognizing this pattern and choosing differently. If you're anxious, stop chasing avoidant partners who can't meet your needs. If you're avoidant, stop running from partners who genuinely care. Healthy relationships require balance, not extremes. 7. Your attachment style affects more than just romance. Attachment styles don't only influence romantic relationships, they shape how you interact with friends, family, and even coworkers. For example, an anxiously attached person might overcommit to friendships, fearing rejection. An avoidant person might struggle to ask for help, seeing it as a sign of weakness. These patterns can limit your personal and professional growth if left unchecked. They affect how you set boundaries, handle conflict, and form connections. The good news is that understanding your attachment style can improve every area of your life, not just your love life. Awareness is the first step. Pay attention to how your attachment style shows up in different relationships. Once you see the patterns, you can start making intentional changes. The goal isn't perfection, it's growth. 8. Repeating patterns keeps you stuck. If you find yourself in the same types of relationships over and over, your attachment style is likely at play. These patterns are comfortable because they're familiar, but they're also destructive. Until you break the cycle, you'll keep falling for the wrong people. The first step is recognizing the pattern. Are you always drawn to emotionally unavailable partners? Do you sabotage relationships when they get too close? Once you identify the issue, you can start changing your behavior. It's not easy, but it's necessary if you want different results. Breaking the cycle requires both self-awareness and action. Surround yourself with people who support your growth, seek therapy if needed, and commit to healthier choices. The wrong people will keep showing up until you stop inviting them in. 9. Healing starts with self-awareness. You can't fix what you don't acknowledge. Healing your attachment style begins with understanding how it was formed and how it affects your behavior. This requires brutal honesty and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths. Self-awareness isn't about self-criticism. It's about self-compassion. Your attachment style was shaped by circumstances beyond your control, but it's your responsibility to change it. This means examining your triggers, challenging your beliefs, and making conscious choices in relationships. Healing is a journey, not a destination. Progress might be slow, but every step forward brings you closer to the secure, fulfilling relationships you deserve. The work is hard, but the reward is freedom from the patterns that have held you back for so long. 10. You have the power to change. Here's the most important truth. Your attachment style isn't a life sentence, it's a starting point. With effort, you can move toward a more secure way of relating. This doesn't mean you'll never feel anxious or avoidant again, but it does mean you'll have the tools to handle those feelings in healthier ways. Change requires commitment. It means setting boundaries, seeking help when needed, and choosing partners who align with your values. It means walking away from relationships that hurt you, even when it's hard. Most of all, it means believing that you're worthy of love and respect. The journey to secure attachment isn't easy, but it's worth it. When you heal, you stop falling for the wrong people and start attracting the right ones. You deserve a love that feels safe, steady, and real. And it starts with you. Attachment styles shape every relationship you have, but they don't define your future. By understanding and addressing your patterns, you can break free from the cycle of falling for the wrong people. It's not easy, but it's possible. If you have made it this far, let us know what you think in the comment section below. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Thanks for watching.